Bob?
He reads the International Forecaster. And what's interesting, what came after that was that all the parties involved said that they were not going to abandon the dollar. And, of course, they were all lying because they are going to abandon the dollar. And then little games being played in here. My timetable is the devaluation of the U.S. dollar is a year and a half, maybe 2 years, maybe a year away. It's hard to say. What are we looking at? We closed on the USDX today at 76.30. 71.18 is support. It'll probably be that support will be probably tested before the end of the month, or at least by the end of the year. It'll be broken next year. It'll probably take it about a year to get down to 40 to 50, which bears out what Kaiser was saying, a 50% devaluation from here. And I see another Smithsonian meeting, another Plaza Accord meeting like in '85. And what will happen is that currencies will be devalued and revalued against one another, and there will be default among many nations. My guess is internally, one new dollar will be issued for 3 old dollars. I believe that debt worldwide, nation to nation, will be written off by 2/3. In other words, the countries will have to pay 1/3 back of the debt that is owed. And that will come at a time when deflation will finally take hold. My best bet is about a year and a half from now. And as the economy sinks, all of these things will take place. The U.S. will try to start another war, probably in Pakistan, maybe India, maybe Iran, I don't know. But they'll try to get another diversion. I don't think they're going to get away with it. And if they try nuclear war, the United States and Israel will be obliterated.
Well, Bob,
and there's one more thing here. We were talking about gold going up. 95% of newsletter writers, analysts, and economists said gold was going down. I and a handful of people, Bill Murphy and Jim Sinclair and a couple of others, and that's it. And it's always that way.
Well, and
these charters are getting it stuck again.
Well, and the obvious reason is to try to chase you back into stocks and bonds, treasuries, and this is very clear, very plain and simple, that the reason why there is a flight to gold is insurance against inflation, which is starting to rear its ugly head, and anybody that has two brain cells that synapses and talks to each other know that to be the case. So, we're again, the credibility factor with these people that are now saying that the housing market is turning around. Check your premise here, folks. They haven't turned around. They haven't even bottomed yet. So we have a problem here, Bob Chapman. Failed government and failed system equals collapse of said system, which means collapse of U.S. economy. This is not collapsing of certain segments of market. We're talking about the collapse of an entire nation and its economy, period.
You're talking about the collapse of the entire world.
Well, and
they want world government. They want everybody on their knees. Now, some countries won't get hit as hard as others. Most countries in the world, when people buy houses, they pay cash. Less than 1% are in time sales, like in Latin America as an example. And yes, they already have poverty, so how much worse can it get? And so with that said, they're not going to relatively suffer like the United States and Europe are. Now, Asia's going to have no one to export to. So they're going to get it sooner or later. And by lowering their currencies, all they're going to do is start a trade war, which has already begun. And so the whole world's going to be upside down. And that's why the only asset in the world that you should own is gold and silver-related assets. And if you're in anything else, you're going to be a loser. I've been right about everything.
It's starting to sound like Rush.
Bite your tongue.
We'll break.
Listen, I knew there was something wrong with that, Robbie.
800-313-90.
I'm not going on his program anymore.
800-313-9443. Yes, and how exactly did he talk you into doing that?
Well, he told me he'd send me a package of lollipops.
Okay, we'll break. We'll be right back. I had a caller call into the program just recently and said that he's from Jackson, Michigan, and unemployment is roughly 26% thereabouts. And John Bonnier, that has been posturing against Democrats and the Obama administration, the hypocrisy on this one. He asked Obama, where's the jobs? Well, the president is in Copenhagen tomorrow. This House Republican leader said that the American people are going to wake up and find out that hundreds of thousands of more Americans have lost their jobs. The administration's trillion-dollar stimulus plan clearly is not working. Americans were promised that this plan would create jobs immediately and keep the unemployment rate below 8%. Let me remind you, folks, it's well over 20% right now. But Americans are asking, where are the jobs? Now, here's the hypocrisy, guys. Bonnier, which has been in Congress for 10 terms, that's 20 years, he voted for the unconstitutional North American Free Trade Treaty, which has been named not the North American Free Trade Agreement, but it means no American factories taking applications. That treaty has been the biggest killer of domestic jobs in the history of this republic. Thousands of factories closed within the first few years after NAFTA was unlawfully ratified. Bonnier voted for the unconstitutional GATT, the General Agreement on Tariffs and Trade, which has done nothing but erode our sovereignty and cost American companies huge fines. GATT has been the killer for our industries while enriching banana republics and our enemies. Now, where are the jobs? Well, you helped kill them with your votes, Mr. Bonnier. The Republicans held power from January of 95 until the new Congress was sworn in on January of 07. For 8 years, a Republican, be it Bush Jr., yet not a single step was taken to get us out of those destructive treaties. Millions of jobs to communist and third world countries while Americans stand in unemployment lines. Bonnier, Bush, Pelosi, all of them have simply allowed the bleeding to continue year after year after year. Now, the Democrats have done nothing to bring our jobs home since they took power almost 3 years ago. Those destructive treaties remain intact while 15 million Americans are now out of work. It's beyond that, folks. The Democrats, like the Republicans, have done nothing to stop work visas bringing in foreign workers. Now, as of August of this year, 125,000 brand new foreign workers with work permits each month coming into the U.S. Here's the explanation and justification for saying that the federal government brings in 1.5 million new foreign workers each year to take U.S. jobs while Americans lose theirs. And this is, gentlemen, none of these.
It's insanity.
It is insanity. Over 8 million jobs were lost during the Bush administration, Bush Jr. Neophyte.
And we just added 7.2. That's the official figure, so that's 15.2. But the real figure is probably 18 to 19. And my new figure for U6 without birth-death ratio is 21.3% as of last week's figures, and John Williams' figures is 21.4%.
Now, Rutgers economists issued a new report yesterday that said that the U.S. will not see full employment until the year 2017.
Well, you might see it 2050 at the rate we're going.
Guys, we never had full.
That's if we don't have a revolution.
Look, in the best of economic times, we never reached full employment in this country in the first place. Because every Fed chairman, hold on a second, every Fed chairman has said that if we have full unemployment, that means too much cash and currency is in circulation, and that heats up inflation. They said that they would much rather see 5 to 6% of unemployment in this country. To them, that is more than acceptable, and that's how they term full employment. Well, I'm sorry, Robbie, go ahead.
Full employment, according to the Fed, is 4.9.
Okay, between 5 and 6. Okay,
yeah.
10th off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So basically, you're talking about over this period a loss, if you can believe this, of between 47 and 52 million jobs.
This is, Bob,
Which is a big number.
we are a failed state. We are a failed nation. And this is not going to get any better. People fell for the change Obama. I'm going to get jobs. I'm going to put people to work. There's going to be public works programs. We're going to partner with the corporations. We're going to get the economy going while they continue to bury us in debt.